In a quiet town, a strange thing began to happen. People turned on their radios to WKHZ and heard haunting music that echoed in their hearts. Eleanor Gray's voice floated through the air, whispering secrets and stories from beyond. Each listener felt a chill as the whispers begged for justice, tugging at their hearts. Then came Greg's name, spoken softly among the ghostly crew. It was as if he had joined them, becoming part of a mystery that gripped the town. Curiosity and fear blended as they wondered about the stories hidden in those haunting tunes. The last chilling question lingered in their minds. Will you tune in to 1497 AM? Everyone knew that turning that knob could change everything. They felt an unshakable pull to listen, to discover what lay behind those ghostly broadcasts. The air was thick with mystery, and one thing was clear. The broadcast lived on, calling out to those brave enough to listen. The last broadcast. It began on a cold autumn evening in 2023 when Greg Adams, a middle-aged radio enthusiast, was scanning the AM frequencies on his vintage receiver. Greg had always been fascinated by forgotten radio stations and the secrets they held. He'd spent countless nights tuning into static-filled frequencies, hoping to stumble upon something unusual, a pirate broadcast, a coded message, or even an old radio drama lost to time. That night, at precisely 3:13 AM, Greg's receiver crackled to life. He froze as an unfamiliar station number, 1497 AM, appeared on the dial. The frequency was dead air for a moment, but then he heard it, faint melancholic piano music, as if played in an empty concert hall. The melody was hauntingly beautiful, a tune Greg didn't recognize but couldn't stop listening to. After 2 minutes, the music faded, replaced by the voice of a woman. Her tone was warm, soothing, and strangely intimate, as though she were speaking directly to him. Good evening, listeners. This is Eleanor Gray, and you're tuned into WKHZ 1497 AM, the voice of the night. Tonight, we remember those who've gone but are not forgotten. Her words sent a shiver down Greg's spine. WKHZ? He had never heard of such a station, and he was sure no AM frequency broadcasted at 1497 in his region. Before he could process it further, the static returned, and the station was gone. The second broadcast. The following night, Greg stayed up late, tuning his receiver to 1497 AM. Hours passed with nothing but static until once again, the piano music began. This time it was a slower, mournful melody. Eleanor's voice followed, her tone tinged with sorrow. We thank you for listening. Tonight, we honor those we've lost. Let us never forget their names. She began listing names, each spoken with deliberate care. Margaret Steele, Harold Everett, Thomas Reed. Greg's blood ran cold. The names sounded eerily familiar. Scrambling through old photos and family documents, he realized they were all deceased members of his town, some of whom had died under strange circumstances. The broadcast ended abruptly, leaving Greg shaken. Intrigued, Greg spent the following day researching WKHZ. He combed through online forums, FCC records, and old radio archives, but found nothing. No station with that call sign had ever been registered. Determined, he posted about his experience in a radio enthusiast group. Most dismissed it as interference or a prank, but one user sent him a private message. The message was brief and cryptic. WKHZ isn't on the air anymore. Hasn't been since the fire. Be careful what you're trying to hear. Greg's curiosity deepened. After hours of digging, he uncovered a local newspaper article from 1965. It detailed a tragic fire at a small-town radio station, WKHZ 1497 AM. The fire had claimed the lives of 3 employees, including the station's host, Eleanor Gray. According to the article, the station had been airing a late-night show called The Voice of the Night when the blaze broke out. Investigators believed faulty wiring caused the fire, but some locals claimed to have heard the station broadcasting ghostly music and voices in the years following the tragedy. Greg couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. He had recorded a news broadcast featuring Eleanor, a local reporter, but when he played it back on an old cassette tape, he heard something eerie. Beneath her voice were whispers that sent chills down his spine. Determined to find out more, he used audio software to clear the noise. What he uncovered made his heart race. The whispers formed desperate messages. "We're still here," they cried. The fire wasn't an accident, and a haunting plea, "Help us." It felt like frozen fingers were gripping his neck. Who were these voices? What fire? Greg knew he had to act before it was too late. The truth was hidden in the shadows, and he was the only one brave enough to seek it out. The fear grew, but so did his resolve. He would follow the trail until he could uncover the secrets behind the whispers for himself. Time was running out, and he needed to find the answers. The old WKHZ station stood like a ghost in the weeds. Greg felt a chill in the air as he walked closer. Inside, he saw broken pieces of a forgotten past, burned microphones, melted records, and old pictures where smiles seemed to hide a warning. One photo caught his eye. It was Eleanor Gray. Her calm face felt wrong in that dark place. Suddenly, he noticed strange words on the wall. They silenced us. A rush of fear gripped him. As if answering his thoughts, his receiver sputtered with Eleanor's voice. "Greg, you shouldn't have come here." Heart racing, he fled to his car, but the voice didn't stop. As he drove, the radio turned off, crackled with urgency. Eleanor's tone grew frantic. "Don't let them forget us. They'll do it to you too." Greg knew he should have never entered that haunted ruin. Her words echoed in his mind, blending with the darkness closing in around him. He realized that some stories are best left untold. Greg was not just another listener. He had become a player in a dangerous game. After the fire at WKHZ, he dug deep into local archives. What he found shocked him. The station was in big financial trouble, and it looked like someone wanted to wipe the slate clean. Rumors buzzed that the fire was planned to erase debts and pocket insurance money. Those who sought the truth didn't just walk away, they vanished. Greg remembered Eleanor's bold broadcasts, where she hinted at dark secrets hiding behind the scenes. By listening in, he might have placed a target on his back. With his heart racing, he knew he was up against powerful forces. What started as mere curiosity now felt like a threat to his life. He had to decide, would he attempt to uncover the truth and risk everything, or would he step back and stay safe? In a town where silence was golden, Greg found himself on a dangerous path where every clue could be the last. Greg could not shake the feeling that something was wrong. A week after hearing Eleanor's warning on 1497 AM, he still felt drawn to the radio. That night, he hesitated but turned it on. Instead of music, there was only silence until Eleanor's voice cut through. "We warned you, Greg. Now they're listening too." Fear gripped him as strange voices filled the room. They whispered accusations, their tone sharp and menacing. The lights above him flickered as a chill ran down his spine. Suddenly, the radio erupted with a loud screech, and without thinking, he unplugged it, heart racing. But it didn't end there. That night, his phone rang with the same haunting melody. The TV flickered to life, showing Eleanor's face, her lips moving but no sound escaped. Greg realized he couldn't escape the broadcast. It wasn't just a station anymore. It had become a part of his life, stalking him in the dark. The fear was alive, and now so was the silence. The air in Greg's small room was thick with tension as he cranked up the radio. He tuned into 1497 AM, feeling a pull he could not resist. Something was happening, something strange. Eleanor's voice came through, clearer than ever. "You're close, Greg, but they're listening too." His heart raced. The lights above flickered erratically, and his phone screen flickered to life before dying again. It was as if the world was reacting to him. Who were they? Were these shadows lurking in the corners of his vision real, or just figments of his growing fear? He glanced around, half expecting to see someone watching him. Was he just imagining it, or was something sinister happening just beyond the veil of normality? With each broadcast, the voices got louder, echoing in his mind. Greg felt the weight of unseen eyes on him. He needed to uncover the truth, but now he questioned if he was even safe listening at all. Greg was ready to share everything. That night, he sat in front of his camera, feeling the weight of his discovery. Eleanor's voice filled the room, soft yet eerie. "You found the truth, but now they've found you. You can't silence the dead." As the recording went on, shocking screams echoed through the speakers, merging with crackling static. It was terrifying, yet thrilling. Suddenly, the room fell silent, as if the air itself had held its breath. In a panic, Greg pressed rewind, desperate to hear it again, to make sense of what had just happened. But when he tried, he found nothing. The audio vanished, leaving only an unsettling quiet. Heart racing, he realized the truth. Some things are meant to stay buried. But the fear in his gut told him it might be too late. The shadows outside his window felt closer now, as if they were waiting for the right moment to strike. He had sought the truth, but the truth was now chasing him. It was a quiet evening when Greg's friends noticed something was off. He sat alone in the dark, eyes wide, staring at his radio. "Can't you hear it?" he would whisper, fearing he was being watched. As days passed, his obsession grew. He claimed the station spoke to him, even when the radio was turned off. Concern turned into fear as his family watched him slip away. Then one day it happened. Greg vanished without a trace. His house stood still, untouched by time, while the radio continued to hum softly, tuned to 1497 AM. Friends knocked on the door calling his name, but only silence answered. The eerie sound of the radio filled the empty rooms, a haunting reminder of Greg's last days. What happened to him? Did he escape, or was he taken by the voices of the station? The mystery left everyone asking questions, desperate for answers, while Greg became just another ghost in the whispers of the radio waves. A chilling mystery hung over the small town. Weeks passed since Greg vanished, leaving his house eerily still. Dust gathered on his things, untouched. On the table stood his radio, eternally tuned to 1497 AM, a ghostly signal that whispered of secrets. The police shrugged off his disappearance, but friends felt a dark truth shrouded in the air. At night, some locals claimed to hear strange sounds from the radio. The soft notes of a piano filled the silence, followed by a haunting voice, Eleanor's. Her words returned, echoing in the shadows. Never forget, never forgive. It felt like a warning, a reminder of what was left behind. While the world moved on, Greg became a part of that eerie transmission. Some believed he was trapped inside that haunting broadcast, forever listening and longing for freedom. The mystery lingered, pulling at the hearts of those who cared. As the radio played on, a reminder that some stories never truly end. Now you know the story, but here's the real question. Do you dare to tune in to 1497 AM tonight at exactly 3:13 AM? What might you hear? Or worse, who might hear you? If you enjoyed this dive into the unknown, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Eerie Encounters. It helps me uncover more of the strange and unexplained, just like this. And tell me, did this story send shivers down your spine? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if there's a mystery you'd like me to explore, let me know. Remember, some stories should never be forgotten. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.